if you had to pick a crypto and you wanted one that was pretty much a no-brainer because it's embedded in everything, not everything, but close, therefore the odds of it failing or not doing well are pretty slim to none, we're going to talk about Chainlink and how it's an infrastructure crypto. It may not be the sexiest thing that people talk about. However, it's interesting because if you follow this analogy, you've heard this before many times. Everyone uses it. Gold and gold prospecting way back when. Let's say for sake of argument, there's 20 individuals. I'm one of them and I'm going out looking for gold. I buy all the tools I need. I start looking for gold. Maybe out of that 20, 5 of us are unsuccessful. Of course, me and 4 other guys. So we take a hike. 15 of them are successful. So they go buy more of those tools. In that example, 25% chance that the individual going to prospect for gold is going to fail. However, the person who runs the store that sold the tools to these 20 individuals, well, they got 100%, right? They sold to every single person. And then 5 of those people, they left. They didn't continue being customers. However, 15 of them did. So there's a chance if you're one of those 20, think of it as different layer ones or whatever they may be, cryptos, that some of them might fail and go away. And if you're one of them that fails, you have a 100% failure rate. 25% chance of failing, but you failed. The one that's selling the tools kind of integrated, like Chainlink, because they're integrated into so many of these. If a couple of them die, well, that's just a couple of their customers. They are still integrated into all these other chains. So we're going to talk about that in a moment. If you would, take a look down below. I've got a school crypto courses where you can learn all about how you use different wallets, use different exchanges, how you can use loans to grow your crypto, whatever it may be, and have discussions with like-minded individuals. I've got a community down below you may want to join. Also, please hit that like button. That way you'll see all my new videos that are coming out. So let's talk about this one particular crypto, Chainlink. I think, and I love it because personally, I like to do what they do. And that is, I like to diversify. I always say, I own, I think, maybe 60 different crypto, but I look at them in terms of various categories. And within each category, I pick the ones I like. So if it's AI, I look at the ones I like within AI. If it's decentralized physical infrastructure or decentralized finance or whatever it may be, I'm picking ones within those categories. So I'm diversifying across categories I think will do well. And then I'm diversifying within them in terms of large cap, mid cap, small cap, diversifying my risk as well. Why is that similar to what Chainlink does? Well, Chainlink is what I would call a foundational crypto because it's integrated within all of these different layer ones. Because essentially, simple explanation, 2 things it does. 1, it allows for cross-chain communication. And 2, it's bringing data from external sources into these chains, what they call an oracle. Very important, particularly for finance, and it's going to be even more important for real-world assets and other things. It's just going to grow exponentially as real-world asset tokenization continues to grow. Because being able to bring off-chain data, real-world data, into and onto chain is very important. All right, so if we look at CoinMarketCap, you can look at CoinGecko. Here it is, it's number 12. We're going to go over about 4 or 5 different things. We'll talk about pricing. It's number 12 in terms of market cap, so it's in the top 20. It's one of the largest. 8.6 billion market cap, fully diluted, 13 billion. That means that what? 2/3 or so of their crypto is in circulation, large market cap. And if we look down, it always talks about what categories is it in. And they'll put it in, like most crypto, they put it in multiple categories. I believe most importantly, it's in the oracle category, taking that data, bringing it on chain. It's the number 1. These numbers are not sequential because these numbers are telling you where it ranks in terms of all crypto. So the first one in oracles, Chainlink, is the largest by market cap. And I would say that probably correlates to largest in market share. Number 11 overall, and here they are first within oracles. BitTensor is next. I don't consider that really an oracle. Pyth Network, yes, but notice it's number 107. It is significantly smaller, fully diluted is 1 billion. Chainlink is 13. So it's 13x. Well, it's 1.3. So it's like 10, let's say it's 10 times larger. So it's by far, if you're looking for one oracle, I always have to say, my disclaimer, big dumb animal, don't do what I do, informational purposes only. But if I had to pick one within this category, it would be Chainlink. I currently do own it, full disclosure, as of the recording of this video, and I own Pith as well. Because I like to diversify, and to me, I believe Chainlink will do very well. And Pith, I'm hoping it will. It's smaller. I think it might have larger multiples. All right. If we look at what it actually does, let me show you this here. It's connecting smart contracts to real-world data, what we talked about a moment ago. Decentralized Oracle network enabling smart contracts on blockchains like Ethereum and a whole bunch of others to access off-chain data. Very important. They happen to reference price feeds, weather feeds, sports feeds, you name it. But it's going to be huge in DeFi and RWA. I think that will really rocket it forward. Second, cross-chain interoperability. You've probably seen this a lot more if you watch X and other news throughout those sources. CCIP, they call it, cross-chain interoperability protocol. So different blockchains can communicate seamlessly, transferring assets and data across the networks. Assets across networks, huge. To me, I know it's much more technical what they do, but my lizard brain says I like to keep things in the threes. You tell me more than 3 pieces of information, I'm not going to remember it. So this one, I like to think of it as 2 things. We've got real world data coming on chain, and we have interoperability. To me, that's enough. In the past week, they had 22 new assets. So you'll see them typically post one of 2 things. Like this, hey, we're bringing more information, more data streams, more real world data, and we're pulling it on chain so that if you use Chainlink, if you're one of these cryptos that use Chainlink, you're going to be able to access data from all these other sources now. The other type of post you'll see with them, for example, they'll say, oh, here's who's integrated us now, and here's what they're going to do with it. Recently, Aerodrome, as well as Hedera, using their Chainlink, their CCIP. So you'll see one of those 2 posts. Going through this rather quickly, don't want to waste your time. They put out a Q1 quarterly report. That was this right here, this post on X. And they talk about, like I mentioned, CCIP, the Chainlink Interoperability Protocol, adds 25 new chains, like you saw, Aerodrome, Hedera, and others. And then 77 new data streams that they've integrated. That was just in Q1 of 2025. January, February, March. 3 months, 77 streams. What's that? Over 2 per month? What? No. Over 20 per... Yeah. Math is hard. Over 20 per month. So that's almost a new data stream. Oh, you know what? If they don't work Saturdays and Sundays, they got about 20 days, work days in a month. So they were able to integrate a new data stream every single work day of the last 3 months. I think that's impressive. And they've got their quarterly review. If you want, you can take a look. I recommend you follow them. It's just at Chainlink. They've got a post. You can go in. I believe these are very important. They tell you what they've done in Q1. And they also, at the very end, will tell you what they believe they're going to do in Q2. Looking forward to Q2 and beyond. When I see something like this in the crypto space, where they've put out a quarterly report like this, which, by the way, in crypto, this is not a public company. They don't have to do this. They can just throw out a blog post that says, hey, we just did something cool, and then throw up a stupid graphic, which a lot of these cryptos do. No, they're treating this as a real business, if you will, because it is. I don't know why I laugh, but let's move on. In terms of social mentions, if you look here like a Lunar Crush, this is telling you green means that there's more mentions than over time. They're going up. And you can see everything's in the green right now. This is in April of 2025 when you're seeing this. And of course, the largest Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, some of these are some of the top 10 cryptos. There's Link, which makes sense. It has a lot of mentions. As we showed, it was what, number 12 in terms of crypto. So it should have a lot of mentions, and it has them. That's good. This is interesting. I'm just showing you this because this is the gentleman, the CEO of Chainlink. I like to follow Chainlink on X because they'll often put up videos of when he's speaking at different events, and they'll put up little clips. I think his videos are excellent. If you see a clip, it's worth the 3 or 5 minutes, however long the clip is. He does a great job of articulating Chainlink, what they do, and how they interoperate with other chains and the mission of this company. I think he's an excellent speaker, and he also explains all the concepts in Chainlink very well. Worth watching. All right, let's look at the pricing. Now, I'm just going to look at the last, let's call this the last bull run. And now, hopefully, we're entering the next one. We shall see. Last time, the price was up around $52. It seemed to have peaked. And now it is $13. So that's about a 4x. If it matches last bull run's peak, I would say that should be a no-brainer because they have achieved a lot more in that period of time. It's a 4-year period of time. However, I always like to also look at the market cap. So, and here's why. If you look at last market cap, it reached at that price of $52, which was what? 13 to 52 is a 4x. If it goes from current price to 52, we look at, notice how these are closer. Last time it was about 22 billion at the $15 price. Now it's around 8 billion at the $13 price. So go to 8 to 22. That's a little less than a 3x. So why is that? Why is it not in direct proportion? It's because there's more coins in circulation. And this is not the fully diluted market cap. This is the market cap, which means how many coins are in circulation times the price of $13. So back here, there were less coins. So if it was 1,000 times the price, and now we've got 2,000 times the price. So there's a difference because there's more coins now. I say that because for the market cap to reach what it was last time, it's a little less than a 3x. Personally, again, not financial advice. I believe this is a no-brainer, but there is a difference between the pricing and the market cap. I expect it personally to go much higher than that. I realize that fully diluted is around 14 billion, so a 10x would be 140 billion. Would that surprise me? Not really. Do I think it's possible this run? We'll have to see, but I believe a $13 price is an excellent entry point. It was 22 and 23 down around $6. It was just recently, November, December, around 30. So that's a 2x right there or more just to get to November prices. Personally, what do I think about Chainlink? Well, I also look at many of these cryptos in terms of short-term and longer-term. I believe in the cryptocurrencies. I think they're going to be embedded into everything we do. I think these technologies are not only not going away, but I believe this is the tip of the iceberg as to how they're going to move into not just finance, but healthcare and you name it. I think they'll be in the background of many things we don't even realize. Real world asset tokenization. It's all going on to crypto, in my opinion. So I look at some of these smaller market cap ones, not Chainlink, and I say, there's going to be a lot of competition there. I don't know how well they're going to execute. They don't have a lot of resources. They weren't first mover advantage. But I put some money into them because I think in this bull run, they might do well. However, odds are of me selling out some of those smaller cap ones, pretty much 100% chance. The odds of me selling completely out of something like Chainlink, well, we'll have to see where the pricing goes. If I were to sell out, I would be looking to enter back in a bear market, definitely. I also personally, I tell you what I do. That's why I do this channel. I've got my personal crypto, if you will, and then crypto within an IRA account. I happen to use iTrust Capital. There's also a link down below. And in there, I have the crypto that I believe will do well for the long term. Now, your long term could be, depending upon your age, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Look at this guy. My long term is not that long. 5 years or 10 years, maybe longer. But you get the point. I put things in there that I believe will do well for the long term. And Chainlink is one of them because of the fact that I believe it truly is one of the rare infrastructure cryptos, because it's linking so many of them together that even if some of these go away, it still has a million more clients. It's a great type of business to be in, one that doesn't ebb and flow so much with markets. I mean, it will price-wise, but prices on all crypto over time will become less volatile and stabilize a little more. However, as a business model, this is one that I think will do well in all markets. So that was it for today. Hope that was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I hope we can all make generational wealth together with crypto.